पीछे थोड़ा सा लीला में सकते हैं. What do we read on?
Oh, sorry, Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Hare 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 Desai chande karuna hoibe samsara vasanamo sabe sujame arakabe desai chande karuna hoibe. Book or something for everybody?
There is here on the wall, I will put on the...
So much more Holy Hare Pulaka Hari Hari Holy Hare Janne Hare Raghunatha Pade Rahumora Asha Pratana Karoye Sada Narottamana Krishna Consciousness, srimad Goswami Maharaj, Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine, Namaste Sundari Pastachari Shatane, Jai Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Ki Jai, Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki Jai, Jai Sati Sutta Ki Jai. Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Advaita Chandra 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 Jaya Advaita Chand Jaya Gaura Bhakta
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta
Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda
Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
We are reading from the Adi Lila Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 10. I'm not sure which verse you're reading from.
64.
64? Okay. Title of the chapter, I think, is Associates of Lord Chaitanya, isn't it? So it's there on the page. So text 64, presumably it's on the board, am I correct? Prabhu Priya
Prabhu Priya
Govindananda
Govindananda
Bhagavat
Mahabhagavat
Prabhur
Prabhura
Kirtaniya
Kirtaniya
Adi
Adi
Shri Govinda Datta
Shri Govinda Datta
Prabhu Priya Govindananda Mahabhagavat
Prabhu Priya Govindananda Mahabhagavat
Prabhura Kirtaniya Adi Shri Govinda Datta
Prabhura Kirtaniya Adi Shri Govinda Datta
Prabhu Priya Govindananda Mahabhagavata
Prabhu Priya Govindananda Mahabhagavata
Prabhura Kirtaniya Adi Shri Govinda Datta
Prabhura Kirtaniya Adi Shri Govinda Datta
Prabhu Priya Govindananda Mahabhagavata
Prabhu Priya Govindananda Mahabhagavata
Prabhura Kirtaniya Adi Shri Govinda Datta
Prabhura Kirtaniya Adi Shri Govinda Datta
Prabhu Priya Govindananda Mahabhagavata
Prabhu Priya Govindananda Mahabhagavata
Prabhura Kirtaniya Adi Shri Govinda Datta
Prabhura Kirtaniya Adi Shri Govinda Datta
Prabhu Priya Govindananda Mahabhagavata
Prabhu Priya Govindananda Mahabhagavata
Prabhura Kirtaniya Adi Shri Govinda Datta
Prabhura Kirtaniya Adi Shri Govinda Datta
Prabhu Priya Govindananda Mahabhagavata
Prabhu Priya Govindananda Mahabhagavata
Prabhura Kirtaniya Adi Shri Govinda Datta
Prabhura Kirtaniya Adi Shri Govinda Datta
Prabhu Priya Govindananda Mahabhagavata
Prabhu Priya Govindananda Mahabhagavata
Prabhura Kirtaniya Adi Shri Govinda Datta
Prabhura Kirtaniya Adi Shri Govinda Datta
Prabhu Priya Govindananda Mahabhagavata
Prabhu Priya Govindananda Mahabhagavata
Prabhura Kirtaniya Adi Shri Govinda Datta
Prabhura Kirtaniya Adi Shri Govinda Datta
Prabhu, oh ladies. Prabhu Priya,
Prabhu Priya
the most dear to the Lord.
the most dear to the Lord.
Govindananda,
Govindananda
of the name Govindananda.
of the name Govindananda
Mahabhagavat,
Mahabhagavata
great devotee.
Great devotee
Prabhura,
Prabhu
of the Lord.
Lord.
Kirtaniya,
Kirtaniya
performer of kirtan.
Performer of Kirtan
Adi,
Adi
originally.
Originally
Shri Govinda Datta,
Shri Govinda Datta
of the name of Shri Govinda Datta.
of the name of Shri Govinda Datta.
Translation and purport. Very short purport. Govindananda and Govinda Datta the 25th and 26th branches of the tree for performance of kirtan in the company of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Govinda Datta was the principal singer in Lord Chaitanya's kirtan party. And a small purport. Govinda Datta appeared in the village of Sukhachar near Kadadaha. Oh, see, there's two more verses here, or one more verse at least. We'll read the next verse also. Shri Vijaya Dasanam Prabhura Akaya Prabhore Aneka Punti Diache Likia. Shri Vijay Das, the 27th branch, another of the Lord's chief singers, gave the Lord many books written by hand. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Formerly, there were no printing presses, nor printed books. All books were handwritten. Precious books were kept in manuscript form in temples or important places, and anyone who was interested in a book had to copy it by hand. Vijay Das was a professional writer who copied many manuscripts and gave them to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this, I suppose, two points here in these two verses, which are, aside from the individual personalities and their unending qualities, which are not directly mentioned much here, the practical activities of the devotees mentioned in the form of kirtan. Two of the Lord's chief kirtaniyas, particularly Govinda Datta was... Govinda Datta?
Yes, Govinda.
Govinda Datta was mentioned here as the Lord's chief kirtaniya. Sometimes we hear other great personalities, Govinda Ghosh, and there's no end to them in reality. Different situations one may be seen as the greatest or the main or whatever. Many great Mukunda Datta, Mukunda, so many great devotees who are amazing kirtaniyas in Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan. Amazing kirtaniya it also includes the musical ability, no doubt. Every living entity is endowed with a certain ability. So some living entities have a natural musical ability. Relative, it may be in the material world. But these are eternal associates of the Lord, so their musical ability is not measured exactly by, let's say, relative methods. Their singing is from the transcendental plane. Their musical instrument, playing of musical instruments is from the transcendental plane. And besides the fact that they were expert anyway at their particular activity, far more extrovert than we can conceive. Sometimes we see a devotee who's so expert on the mridanga, we say so expert. Relatively, they're very expert. And amazing. Just the sound of the mridanga itself, as Bhakti Thakur would say, brings joy to his heart. He feels like he's in Goloka, Vrindavan, just by the sound of the mridanga. It is not an odd when played correctly, according to the various mantras, according to the various beats, everything. The sound is not an ordinary sound. It's not like the beating of an ordinary drum. It's actually basically singing the holy name. Same with the kartals, they're sometimes considered to be like the ankle bells of the gopis. You know, the Madanga is an expansion. The flute very much wanted to come into Lord Chaitanya's pastimes, but there's not really much room for the flute in Lord Chaitanya's pastimes. Maybe some of Nityananda's associates play the flute. But generally speaking, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not manifest the flute in his pastimes. So the flute was extremely miserable. What will I do? You appear as the mridanga. The mridanga is also considered to be the flute of Krishna. It's not just something we bash to our heart's content. It is played exactly according to the will of Krishna. So these expert kirtaniyas were not just expert at playing all the beats and this and that, but the real expertise is being tuned into Krishna's will. What Krishna's heart, his heartbeat, sometimes say. But the mridanga, the kartals, they're played according to the beat of the Lord's heart. They go up, down, in, out, left, right, whatever it is according to the Lord's heartbeat means the emotions the Lord is experiencing or wishes to experience. The musicians facilitate the Lord's desire according to what he wishes. The songs they sing, the emotions they express during the songs, everything is wholly and solely. This is expertise. Expertise. Prabhupada described expertise as being, he gave a very simple example. He said, look, just like a calf. A calf is expert because immediately, no, in this little sense of the word expert, because it immediately knows how to take the breast milk of the mother, of the cow, or her other child. Immediately it goes, it doesn't have to be taught how to do it. It does it immediately. It's spontaneous. So, I mean, you could say that's a natural reaction, a nature. Well, it is. And being expert means acting according to one's nature. The only difference herein is that that expertise is totally directed towards Krishna. It's not like it's to show off or to make money or to enjoy yourself. It's not one of any of these other motives whatsoever. It's pure, wholly and solely, real expertise is to recognize whatever we've been given by Krishna. It may be very tiny, it may just be a little tiny capacity. Just like Lord Ramchandra, when he was building the bridge, or the bridge was being built to Lanka, how Hanuman's capacity was huge, and the spider's capacity was tiny. But Lord Ramchandra considered them on equal level because they were giving everything in their service. So it's not a question of what you've got, it's a question of recognizing that, trying to do it to your best capacity and doing it for Krishna. Even if all we can do is just clean the toilet and do it nicely. Don't just do it for any other reason other than, of course, Krishna, you could say Krishna's not necessarily going to come and use the toilet. But he can see everything. Devotees are going to use the toilet. And so we clean it as immaculately, as nicely as we can. We clean everything nicely for the pleasure of Krishna. The gopas are constantly cleaning, although there's no dirt. They continue to clean. But dust is hardly dirt. But they continue to clean for the pleasure of Krishna. They want to make it more pleasing for Krishna. So music is very much in that case. Music is, practically speaking, Prabhupada said, our movement is kirtan. Our movement is all about music. The absolute truth is music. It's not that music is the point. The point is, in the spiritual world, everything is music. Everything is meter and song, beautiful sound vibrations, the flute, the musical instruments, the singing, everything. The leaves, rustling of the leaves is like the Vedic hymns. Everything is so beautiful. Everything is harmonious. Everything is perfectly, the sound, everything, the form, the shape, the movements, everything. It's just like, I was, maybe it shouldn't be, but just watching the devotees dance, yes, especially the ladies, and how coordinated they were dancing, so nicely. And it's very attractive. The people are automatically attracted when they see, they pay a lot of money to go to theaters to see ladies or men performing on the stage, dancing in such wonderful, systematic, choreographed, whatever it is, ways. There's groups, especially from China and places like that, who come in huge performances of color, all beautifully balanced colors. They're not just very suit them on their outfits. They're all, whatever you call it. They're all in the right colors, and they're all dancing perfectly in harmony. Everything's in harmony, more or less, materially. But the real harmony is to be in harmony with Krishna. Automatically everything comes. But it is for the sake of the public. Bhaktivinoda Thakur describes two kinds of kirtan. One is that kirtan which is not necessarily transcendental. It should be, but it may not be. But it is very musical. It is very expert from the material perspective. And he said generally in the beginning that was what will attract people. But attract devotees too when the sound is very nice and the musical instruments are very expertly played and everything is very coordinated. And the sound just captures your attention. The various instruments playing in harmony and the beautiful voice and so on and so forth. All that captures the hearts of people, no matter what the song is about. The sound itself is attractive. And the dancing is dancing, singing, and musical instruments. That is Sankirtan. All three are there, dancing, singing, and musical instruments, whichever way you want to put it. But those three items are there in the performance of Sankirtan. So here we go, Vidadatta and others, Vijay, Govindananda, they're all singers in Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan party, which means they're not just professional singers, they may be very good, they are pure devotees of the Lord. They sing exactly. So our movement is focused on this, awakening whatever we've been given. But main thing is to awaken its connection to Krishna. It's good to become expert in certain things, but Krishna is the center. It's not about what makes me feel good, or even what attracts a crowd. In the material world, Prabhupada said, we're not interested in attracting a crowd of asses. So we're interested in pleasing Krishna, attracting Krishna. Doing things in a way which pleases Krishna. Whether the people in general are attracted or not is another thing. But the main thing is that we try to act, live, think, etc. in a way which is pleasing to Krishna. Let's see. Expertise, you could say, the real expertise. The real expertise. Prabhupada said that to Satsrup Maharaj. He said, you're not a good manager, but you're expert, because you try to do everything you can for Krishna. Even if you're not good, if you're asked to do it, you still try at least. But the real expertise, Prabhupada, we don't have to learn other things. We've all got particular talents, particular abilities, and expertise is really to act according to that and to utilize it in Krishna's service. So these devotees' eternal role in Chaitanya Lila is this particular aspect, a major aspect of Lord Chaitanya's pastimes, particularly even in Krishna's pastimes. All the gopis, they're all expert musicians, in different, practically speaking. Or maybe they've got other roles to play, but so much emphasis on music. That music is basically speaking, the life of the spiritual realm. Every word is a song, every step is a dance, dancing and singing, and music are there, all there in the spiritual world. They may have their perverted reflection in this material world coming out as guitars and djembes and what have you. In this material world, double basses and pianos and all sorts of things. We cannot conceive of the spiritual realm with its sound vibrations, which just, even rocks melt, want to speak of the hearts. The rocks melt, the rivers go backwards, or stop altogether flowing. The waterfalls stop, they just stop in midair, captivated by the sound of the flute of Krishna and some other transcendental sound vibrations in relationship with Krishna. So this is what will capture the heart, and that sound vibration is pure sound. So these devotees, they are not ordinary musicians by any means. They are the best of musicians, even relatively, but at the same time, they are the best of kirtaniyas. Kirtaniya is not just a musical thing. Kirtaniya means one who is fully glorifying the Lord in all that they do. Their music, their singing, their dancing. It's not about a show. In fact, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would choose the singers, he would choose the madanga players, he would choose the cartel players, he would choose the dancers. You know, those were expert at what they, just like a businessman would choose his employees according to their capacity to achieve his purpose, which is mundane. But Krishna's, Lord Chaitanya's purpose was to shower prema on the universe. So he chose through music, through kirtan. So he chose his, right personalities to facilitate that purpose, to shower prema on the world. In our situation, we're obviously not at that level, but still, we understand that generally speaking in public and anywhere come to that, it's for the pleasure of Krishna, attracting the public. So generally, there may be different exceptions there, no doubt. No one starts perfect. But generally, the devotees who are musically inclined are the ones who play the madanga and the kartals and the harmonium or whatever instruments one does have there. And those who are at least they can sing in time or something, lead the kirtan. Generally speaking, sometimes for other reasons that may not always be the case, but generally that's the case. But the best ones, those who are best at music and dance and what have you, lead those particular activities, just like our Chandramukhi, she's very good at choreographed dancing, so she gets all the ladies dancing in with nice outfits, dancing in time with each other, dancing all according. Even the public is amazing to see how, especially ladies are more choreographed than men, by the way. It's a natural factor. Men are not very good at that, generally speaking. And the ladies are naturally good at, even little kids, 4-year-old little girls, they pick it up within seconds. Movements this way, that way, this way, and so on and so forth. What to speak about it. So it's a natural thing. They don't know, but they're being engaged in relationship with Krishna. They're very fortunate. And those who sing, everybody's got their various challenges, and they've got their various qualities. But we try to use our qualities, the ones which are, most expert, favorable, which we've been given due to our karma and desire by Krishna. We try to utilize them selflessly in Krishna's service. Whatever we've got, we try to use it in Krishna's service, and there was a natural expertise in relation to worshipping the deities, some in management, some in planning, some in distribution, some in cooking, cleaning, driving, gardening, whatever it may be. Many raising children, so many things may be there. Everything's there. There's nothing, practically speaking, that can't be dovetailed. The perverted reflection may have to change in its details. In other words, if a person is a farmer and they're slaughtering cows, they just have to change from that to being a proper farmer, one who looks after animals instead of kills them. Principle's the same. But the relationship changes. Same with everything. Instead of playing your music for sense gratification to incite lust in people's hearts, we do it for Krishna's pleasure. To excite Krishna, to please Krishna. And then that same musical instrument can become the cause of our progress instead of our bondage. It can be. Everything can be utilized. We just have to know how to do it in Krishna's service. Everything. And the other point here is the literature. Who was good at the literature? Both kirtan and writing. He was expert at writing. And as Prabhupada mentions here, that in those days, we're only going back 500 years more or less. In those days, there was no printing press. Maybe some very crude printing presses were coming in, I don't know, but there was no, generally speaking, there was no printing press. People didn't read books. There were no books to read practically. very few. They would hear, just like we sang just now, the song Lila 10.64-65 by Narottam Das, song for we know called Gauranga Bolite Happy. The song of Narottam Das, which is a beautiful song, and about the glories of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and how we can awaken our love, our dormant love for Radha and Krishna by the grace of the Goswamis, who of course are acting according to the will of Lord Chaitanya. Only his mercy coming through the pure devotees of the Lord can awaken or qualify us to enter into the eternal pastimes of Radha and Krishna. So books were very rare. Although Goswamis, they did write many books, and others did also. And here we see that, of course, they may not have been available at that moment when Vijay was there, but other manuscripts were there, Krishna Karnamrita and Brahma Samhita, many other manuscripts which Lord Chaitanya very much relished. And devotees like Vijay would write them on palm leaves, manuscripts or whatever, some kind of material, would write these scriptures for the Lord's pleasure, so that devotees could we hear and chant these various scriptures. The public would have to hear them from those who know them, or hear from those who are reading them, but they weren't available to the public in general. So, like Narottam Das, he presented, and so many of the great compilers, they presented their song. Lochan Das, for instance, when he compiled the Chaitanya Mangala, he it's all in one song. We just read it as verse, but it's actually songs, series of songs, one song. Each pastime is written in songs, and all these songs. So this way people would sing them, and in this way they would remember and be conscious of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes and his teachings and so on. So even though they didn't read or write, and they didn't have access to reading and writing, they would hear the songs. Through songs they would imbibe, they would capture Lord Chaitanya's mission, mood, teachings and so on. They would capture it. They would go into that practice. So, like this. But Vijay particularly was writing. The interesting point, which is an obvious point, is that we understand that now, of course, the printing press has become the major way of disseminating the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. We have social media in various ways now, but still the printing press is the major way to distribute the knowledge in a printed form. The spiritual Krishna conscious knowledge in the form of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and so many other books printed, which wasn't possible before. One of the benefits of modern progress in technology is the printing press used in Krishna service. Otherwise it's not a benefit at all. If it's just used for mundane literature, it's a disservice to society. But when used in Krishna service, then it becomes very valuable. Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj used to have a printing press in many cases right in the temple room itself. At one end of the temple will be the printing press, at the other end will be the deities. And all day long the printing press, printing all day long, loud noises right in front of the day. He saw this as kirtan. He would offer the obeisances to the printing press when it was producing literature about Krishna. Part of the Raganuga Bhakti. If you look at the logo of the Gaudiya Math, you see there on the side of Raganuga Bhakti, spontaneous devotion, you see the printing press is there. It's one of them, along with Madanga, along with Radha and Krishna, like that. The printing press is there. The Bhagavat, the Brihat Madanga, the Madanga and the Brihat Madanga, the printing press. So this is one of the great introductions in this very recent years of Kali, modern progress. So devotees use they take advantage of the effects or the mundane science and mundane technology and so on to utilize that in Krishna's service. During the time of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or during this time, which we're reading about, there were no printing presses per se. So handwritten, when Jiva Goswami sent Narottam, Shamananda and Srinivas to Bengal and Orissa to preach, he sent them with a cartload full of handwritten manuscripts with the idea they would take them to Bengal, then they would be copied, and one by one copied and taken to the various groups of devotees here and there. It would take a long time. Imagine if you had to distribute books on the street. You're going out with Bhagavad Gita, and you interest the person in the book and say, "Would you like a copy?" And, yeah, we would. Well, here's 500 sheets of palm leaves, like a big box full of them. And here's not even a pen. You've got to something to scratch on the palm leaves. Here, sit here and scratch it. How many people would take it on? I don't think you'd ever find anyone. Even the devotees wouldn't do it. It's almost unbelievable. You're joking? You're crazy? Nobody would do that. So for Kali Yuga, therefore, the Lord has allowed the printing press to manifest and in this way spread the message. Taiwa Kala. Now we have social media, it's the same message going through, but it's not so. The books, Prabhupada said, are solid, they remain there. If you don't have any electricity or there's no internet or something, you can't read it on social media. You may have an Apple Mac, but that's also, not Apple Mac, what is it? Kindle. You may have a Kindle or something, which is very nice, by the way. I use it all the time. Still, it's not quite the same as a book. There's nothing like a hard book. It's a deity in your hand. You're holding the deity of the Lord. It's very Prabhupada, you feel like Prabhupada's right there. And you hold the book. It's very special. You're associating directly with all these pure devotees of the Lord. And it's so purifying. This publishing of literature and distributing of literature wasn't so prominent during Lord Chaitanya's physical presence, but the Goswamis emphasized it tremendously in their preaching through their followers. Writing, yes, books were not there much, but the dissemination of the knowledge was the primary thing. And that's what Srila Prabhupada took on board. He was writing practically his main service was translating and writing these scriptures. What he wanted to do, his last part of his life, he didn't want to do anything else. He just wanted to write. He wanted to translate, not just the bhagavatam, he wanted to translate Mahabharata, he wanted to translate and comment on it, and Ramayana, and all the literatures of the Goswamis. He wanted to do that. But Krishna had another plan. Whatever happened didn't happen directly, but through his followers that's being done now. It was Prabhupada's desire. It was Prabhupada's desire, and we've just heard in the song of Narottam Das, that one must go through the literature of the Goswamis if one wants to understand Radha and Krishna. You can't understand them. They remain either a sentimental kind of like misunderstanding of some kind. You cannot possibly. By going through the literatures of the Goswamis, then gradually you may become eligible to understand the nature or the service of Radha and Krishna. Enter into Radha and Krishna's service. So important are these literatures. And many of them have manifested already, Bhagavatam, Gita, and so many others which are readily available to the members of ISKCON in the various languages of the world. So they can read these nectarian texts which will change our hearts. By hearing and chanting these literatures, their hearts will change. Their perception of the world will change. Instead of our intelligence going to sense objects, we will start to see everything in relation with Krishna, reminding us of everything's relationship with Krishna. It's very important to hear the literatures of the pure devotees of the Lord. Prabhupada is condensed, you could say, in his translations, but he made it very clear that wasn't like, that's the end, that's it, there's nothing more. He wanted to see all these other, especially the bhagavatam, completed. He wanted to translate Chaitanya Bhagavat also and comment on it. Very much so. He almost did that instead of Chaitanya Charitamrita, because the philosophy was more essentially presented in Chaitanya Charitamrita. He chose that, plus his own Guru Maharaj. Although his own Guru Maharaj did write commentary on Chaitanya Bhagavat, which has now been translated into English in full. Very beautiful translation and commentary. So many literatures are there. Obviously we're not all readers, we're not all scholars, we're not all that way inclined, but as much as possible these books should be made available to the devotees in the right time, place and circumstance. Not if we haven't even read the Bhagavad Gita and we want to read, some other literature, Lila 10.64-65 or something. It's not appropriate. We have to go through it step by step by step. Study the books in the proper way. Unless we've understood one, practically speaking. We may study a few at the same time, Prabhupada established that, but they're all in line with each other, basically. But unless we've understood a certain part, certain nature, a certain aspect, then we should try to jump over. There's eligibility to enter into the next phase of, you could say, understanding. So these great devotees, they've made this available. Vijay, great devotees, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was bringing great pleasure to the Lord by writing these scriptures in manuscript form and bringing them to Lord Chaitanya. Various devotees would read them. Gadadhar Pandit was very famous for reading. Raghunath Bhatta, very famous for reading the Srimad Bhagavatam and other literatures to Lord Chaitanya for his pleasure. And we should try to study Prabhupada's books carefully. Their first priority in terms of reading, and if that naturally that will inspire one. Naturally inspire one if one read with a proper heart. Naturally one will want to hear more. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai.
Jai.
Any questions? Question? Any question? 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 You're not here? You're not here?
Pas de question.
I never. Oh. You never forget our dear Lagudi, a godbrother in New Govardhan. Some of you know him. You know Lagudi in New Govardhan. He's from Bosnia and Herzegovina. He was one of the ones who escaped about 70 years ago. Communist thinking, more than that, he's about 90 years old now. And he's amazing. He can't, after living in Australia 70 years, he can still barely speak English. You understand? You understand? Question! You're not here! You're no hearing! No, Keston, no here. You stupid. I remember the first time I ever met him, he gave a class. There were two of us there. I just came to the temple for the first time in the Govardhan, evening time, and I sat there listening to give Bhagavad Gita. I couldn't understand it. And the other boy was there, a young backpacker. He said, "You no question? Why you no question? You stupid! So stupid!" He was going like this. I do it. He said, "Why you no question?" And the boy said, "I'm sorry, I couldn't understand a word you said." "You stupid!" He was going like this. Wow, this is quite an interesting temple. Interesting way of preaching. People don't understand, you call them stupid. What to do? It's because it's not always like that. Extremely learned, actually. Wonderful devotee. No question?
I'm stupid.
Any question?
Yes, Maharaj.
Wait! Okay. What's your question?
Mm.
Make sure it's relevant. I listened to Prabhupada 2 days ago. Someone asked a question. Prabhupada said, stick to the subject matter, otherwise it will never end. Okay, go for it. I was thinking twice.
Yeah. You mentioned about using our capacities in the service of Krishna. This is real expertise. And quite often it happens that we are going over our capacities for some time and afterwards being in difficulty because
Over-endeavoring.
Over-endeavoring because of our ambition,
Yep.
because there is a sincere desire to serve the Lord, to do more, but still we are put in difficulty.
The stage we go through, Prabhupada almost inflicted it upon devotees in many cases. We're not spontaneous exactly, we're very ambitious. And if we're not ambitious for Krishna, we'll be ambitious for Maya, or for material reasons. And Prabhupada could see that in his disciples. Shamsundar Prabhu told a story. Prabhupada, Prabhupada would just give him one thing after another. He hadn't even, it was like, he couldn't finish one and like 10 others were on the table already. He would keep, Prabhupada said, so that you have no time whatsoever to think of anything else. So you're fully absorbed in service. But then on other occasions, we see, like with Tejas Prabhu, Prabhupada was very concerned that he was trying to take on too much. He wrote a very important letter. I can't quote it very much, but Prabhupada was saying you shouldn't take on things which, the main thing is your consciousness, your Krishna consciousness, things which, too much, over-endeavoring like that. So I'll say if I haven't got time for anything, and overloaded. One of the typical examples. But that letter to Prabhupada to Tejas is a very famous letter in relationship to your question. You search it out, Prabhupada to Tejas, who was in Delhi at the time, it was too much. Wanted to do this, and this, and just overloaded, and eventually had a bit of a burnout. That's what they call it. So we got to try to avoid that also. Balancing takes time, and like children, they sometimes they don't know how to balance. So it takes some time. It takes time. But the main thing is, at least we're trying to do it for Krishna. Trying to do it for Krishna. And one learns how to. There are many of us who are very expert in this regard. The first one that comes to mind, I would say, is Deva and Rita Maharaj. And so many are very expert. They know how to achieve their goal. And although everyone else wants them to do something else, if they do something else, they neither fulfill this one or that one. If they achieve your goal, what is your goal? And to focus around that. So he's very expert in that regard. So being very focused on what his objectives are in terms of preaching, in terms of management, in terms of dealing with devotees and so on. So not taking on more than you can actually effectively deal with. Or even worse than that, in a sense, for whatever reason it may be ambition, it may be pride, it may be weakness, it may be many reasons, false compassion or whatever it is. Everyone asks, please can you help me? But you can't really help them, but you kind of think you can. Instead of directing them to somebody who might be able to help them, for whatever reason you try to do it yourself. So that's definitely a problem factor, which is common, both for the individual as well as the receiver, as well as the society itself. So, the persons who have a little bit more expertise in certain areas should be the ones dealing with it, not just anyone, just because they happen to have a position, but you haven't got a clue. You haven't got a clue how to cook, and you're telling the cooks how to cook, it doesn't work. It's, got to be a little bit common sense there. But this ambition, this over-ambition, for whatever it may be, got to be careful we don't get, we've got to have a little bit of tempering, a little bit of humility there. I would like to help, but I'm not actually qualified. I've only, but then we try to direct them to somebody. It takes time, both as an individual, as a society, to find this balance. We're lacking, in many cases, in expertise in so many areas as a society. Because meant to be a society, it's not just a philosophical movement, which may be true indeed, but it's a movement of kirtan. But to come to the point of actual kirtan, so many structural things have to be in place. So many things have to be. Just like here, for instance, how many cars do you have here?
Theoretically or working ones?
I never said anything about working. I said, how many cars do you have here?
2.
2 cars.
Supposedly.
And are they useful?
Now, no.
No. They're like dead bodies. Huh?
Mhm.
Dead bodies aren't much use. You can take. Sometimes they can't be revived anymore. Sometimes some people can't be revived anymore. I don't know if they are revivable. I don't know yet. You judge that yourself. But okay. Why don't you ask? Say, Danatai Prabhu, can you fix the cars today, please?
Yeah, no worry.
Can you give him some spoons and some knives and forks so that he can fix the cars, please? And don't forget the garlands too when you go out there. And the burfi, make sure you give some burfi to the car.
Okay.
I'm sure that will revive it. Spoons and knives. And do kirtan at the same time, I'm sure that will be very, very
I
pleasing to
also
the car.
fix the back of the temple president.
Fix the what?
The back of the temple president.
The back?
I can do both together.
You can fix the temple president's back.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Fix back.
He needs his back fixed. Yeah, but
It's the same, no? The cards.
you don't ask the pujari necessarily to go and fix the car, and ask the mechanic to come and do the arti. And they may not want to do it, but they should be experts. Mechanic, you go to the mechanic to fix the car, although it sounds like your mechanic is not very, very helpful. And you go to the person who knows how to do it. Fix the car. Expert. You don't really try to fix it just because you want to save money. And then you end up with God knows what. Yeah. Sometimes these things you learn by experience until you find out what is the most effective thing to do to achieve your objective, and don't go beyond that. Takes some time. Unless you're working under somebody who no problem, stick to this, and somebody who can organize this. Otherwise it takes some time. Sometimes you have to go through ups and downs. As the movement grows, hopefully that won't be the case. And then the other extreme, which is also not so good, is you become so specialized in what you're good at, you're completely oblivious to everything else. And this happens in some temples. The Buddha mentioned that when they come to New Mayapur. They don't get that problem when they go to New Mayapur because, it's like, it's just a different situation. But sometimes they say, you go there, no one will talk to you because that person's only job is to bring the prasadam from there to there. They don't talk to people in between. It's not part of their job. They don't get paid for it either if they talk to people in between. So they don't do it. They only do daily worship. They run in, do the daily worship, and they disappear, full stop, and they get their money, and that's it, finished. Or their only job is to give a class or some seminar, and they don't do anything else. Even if it's necessary. Serving prasadam, that's not my service. You should organize it properly, get them to serve. There is nothing to serve. Whatever, that may be the reason, whatever. So what do? You stand there waiting for someone to come to serve, or you serve? You make those choices. Some people will just stand there. They won't do it unless it's their service. So that's the other extreme. you're a robot. You become a robot. A mechanical robot. You do this. Boom, boom, boom. That's not the right mood either. Very different extreme. Yeah. Anything else? Are you a robot? Are you a robot? They keep asking someone. I've seen that sometimes. You try to do something on the internet and a question comes up. Are you a robot? Have you ever seen that?
Yes.
You've seen it too? Are you a robot? He's a robot. Okay, we got a robot. I asked Krishna Maharaj, he wasn't Maharaj, neither was I, about 30 years ago, that we're having a lot of problems getting pujaris. Malaysia or North, I can't remember. And he said, we're having a lot of problems everywhere getting pujaris. But don't worry, we're working on it. We are trying to manufacture a perfect pujari. We will do everything perfectly, a robot. On time, every day. Press the button. And even the sound will come out of the mouth. Samsara dava nala lida loka kanaya kadana gana ganatva taptasya kalana kunana vasya bande garo sri charanara vindam.
So inspiring.
Huh?
It's very inspiring.
Very inspiring, yeah. Actually, I mean, he was joking, but he said, we're working on a robot, so we can manufacture all these robots for every temple in ISKCON. They can have a robot program according to the daily schedule, and you have no more problems with pujaris. They're even working on how the robot can dress the deities. Don't worry, the problem will be solved very soon. Okay? Don't be a robot. Sometimes we're robots also. You know? And that's natural in the beginning. A little bit of conscious should be there. The robots are just so glued on 4, 2, 3, 7. Got 1 or 2? 2. Anyway, no one's watching. 3, 4. Don't worry, I'm watching when you do it. 5, 6, 7. Finish that one. Now who's next? That one over there. Okay. 1, 2. Oh, I'll be wrong way around. Never mind. Do it the right way next time. 2, 3, 4. Oh God, what's the time? Oh my God, you have to speed up here. 1, 2. It's like, you know. And everyone in the audience and the crowd thinking, oh God, he's going so slow. It's another 5 minutes. We've got to finish the arti in 5 minutes. Otherwise, I don't. Tell him to speed up, will you? It's kind of a bit mechanical. 4, 2, 3, 7. 4, 2, 3, 7. Now what's the next one? 4, no, 3. 3, no, 4. 4, 7. Some wonder, we never used to do that, all of us. The Pujari would usually lead the kirtan. There's only 1 or 2 other devotees. The Pujari would usually lead the kirtan. They would often dance on the altar. I'm not saying you should introduce this now. You'll get in trouble with the deity ministry. But it wasn't, you know, it was more, even you ask Prabhupada, there was no hard and fast rule in how many circles, this order and that order. We had a different order. We had a whole different order in the certain bury place than we did at the manor. Everything was different. The whole thing, circles and rounds, and this and that, was all order, everything different. That wasn't being conscious of what you're doing, conscious of the deity, please the deities. We can't manufacture, so therefore if a neophytes, there's a certain standard of doing these things, but it shouldn't always just be that only. There should be some awareness of what we're doing. I can't offer arti unless I sing at the same time. I can't do that. But I'll do arti, I have to sing at the same time. I'm not worried about it. To me, the singing is much more, to me, I'm not saying to you it's different, to others it may be different. Buddha mantras and clicking of the fingers and all this, I used to do this in the rock concerts, click your fingers, all these different things. And it's all right, some people, everyone's different. The main thing is to be conscious of Krishna. Be conscious when we're doing our service. That's why you don't shout and argue on the altar. What is that? We try to be quiet. There's a minimum noise for the pleasure of the Lord. We don't disturb him. And certainly not argue in front of deities. Speak loudly in front of deities. Small thing, important. Be conscious. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai. Yes. Yes.
Just a question, Maharaj. Actually, the robot that you explained is exactly me.
Huh?
The robot.
The robot. Oh, we've solved the problem. You'll get Brahmin today. You're the new robot. You're going to solve all the problems.
So, yes, so many times I feel it that I chant 16 rounds, but it's just for the necessary. It's not I chanting because I love the holy name or like something. Just yes, I need to chant 16 rounds. That's why I chant.
Yeah.
And sometimes I need to offer, and after I need to take prasad. That's why I offer. So there's no love. There's no.
It's the beginning. It's the beginning. You have some faith. You have some, let's say, some conviction there, some faith there, some goal is there. You want to develop your love, and this is, as we briefly mentioned, in the beginning, these various seemingly mechanical aspects are the beginning of Vaidhi Bhakti. They may not be very deep in terms of emotion, pure emotion, or proper emotion. They may be rather mechanical, as we say, robotic. But that's the process of controlling our senses in relationship with Krishna. This is the beginning. First, we have to control our senses in relationship with Krishna, our mind and senses. So we're not doing 4, 2, 3, 7, etc., just for the sake of it. It is in relation with Krishna, although it's not very conscious of what we're doing, but maybe it's very conscious, maybe it is. But it is in relationship. It's a shastric directive to perform that particular action that you're doing. And chanting a certain number of rounds, it may be mechanical or inattentive in the beginning, or even somewhat offensive, namabas or whatever, in the beginning. But this is the process. So there's a process which transforms that type of service into more spontaneous, or let's say, Rupa Goswami said, that that same service, but is now inspired by a natural attraction towards Krishna. It's not just because we believe or we have faith that this will awaken that attraction, but actually the attraction is there, so you spontaneously. Now you will find, almost in every case, that some of the activities we do have an element of spontaneity. They have an element of you naturally want to do it. Can you think of anything you naturally want to do in Krishna consciousness at all?
Cleaning.
Pardon?
Cleaning.
Who said that? Christopher. That's amazing. He likes to clean. See, this is an important point. It's not something you can only do cleaning. There are cleaning of different types. But it's a very important thing to clean. If you like cleaning, you're naturally. I remember one lady, she was the mother of, what's his name, I've forgotten, but one devotee in Australia, like 30 years ago, she told me the story. She was a Christian. The mother and father were Christians, and their son joined a temple in Brisbane. And their son was, they were so disturbed that their son had become Hare Krishna, brought up in a Christian family. they weren't fanatics, but they were strong Christians, and they would go to church every week. And they started coming to the temple wholly and solely to try to get their son out of there. Every week they would try to find various ways to convince him to leave and become normal again. But he wasn't leaving. This went on for months like this. And, I don't know if they're getting frustrated or what, but something was happening. And she told me that one day, it was time to go to the temple and try to get their son to come home. And her husband wasn't ready on time. He was in the bathroom, he had to go to the toilet. So she said, "Where are you? Hurry up, it's time to go." He said, "I'm sorry, I'm in the toilet." "Well, hurry up, you're going to be late." And then eventually he came and she said, "Wait a minute, I'm not sure what's happening. I actually want to go to the temple now. I'm not just going to get my son. I want to go." And he said the same thing. So they started becoming a little favorable. And after a while, they were becoming very favorable. They were regulars at the temple. They actually got initiated eventually. But they, one day, they weren't doing any service. They would just come. They were probably in their 50s or something, 60s maybe. And the temple commander asked if the wife, mother, would like to do some service. She says, "Okay, what would you like?" He said, "Well, can you clean all the windows in the temple building?" "Oh, God, please ask me for something. I hate cleaning windows," she said. "I hate it. Give me something else I might try, but please not." "I'm sorry, that's the service, which is all the other services are covered. That's what's required." "Oh, all right, then I'll give it a go." Ooh. She wasn't happy about it. She did it. After a few hours, she did it. Finished all the windows. She said, "Thank you very much. How do you feel now?" She said, I don't know how to say this. I feel fantastic. I feel wonderful." "No, I thought you said you didn't like cleaning windows." "I don't." "Then what happened?" "That these are Krishna's windows." She said, "These are Krishna's windows. They're not ordinary windows. They must be Krishna's windows." She felt like because they were Krishna's windows, she was feeling so happy. She was excited, very happy. So, but if there's something we like to do and we can do it and it's necessary for Krishna, then we should do it. Well, we should do it nicely. We should do it nicely. So if we like doing, some people love to drive. They should drive. That's what Prabhupada said, expert names. If you don't know how to drive, then drive. If you're good at driving, drive. Prabhupada used that very example. If you're good at cooking, cook. Because you have to do other things too. You can't just spend your whole life cooking. You have to eat, you have to clean, you have to speak, you have to develop an attraction for hearing and chanting. So at least we have to follow our spiritual master's instruction, the minimum instruction of chanting 16 rounds. Then you have some austerity has to be there as well. Not just we do what we like doing. That's also good. Austerity sometimes means we have to do things which we may not really do normally. But you have to do that in the material world. Who likes to, work like an ass? Who likes to study, and miss out on everything to get your degree so you can get a job? Who likes to have to undergo various sicknesses and what have you? Not many people. You have to go through these various things to achieve your various goals. Same thing in devotional endeavor. Some things we may not be attracted to, some we may. Who else has a natural attraction to something? Be careful because you might end up having to do it. Yeah.
For me only kirtan.
Huh?
Kirtan.
Kirtan, well that's a nice natural attraction. That's a nice natural attraction, but at the same time you have to bear in mind others and the situation you're in. Someone's got to feed you. Somebody's got to provide. Somebody's got to clean the place. So we give and take here. We have to give and take a little bit. We can't just think, I just want to do kirtan 24 hours a day. That's nice. That's the goal, you could say. But that means you also have to be willing not to eat. You also have to be willing not to sleep. You also have to be willing not to, and not everything else. we're not right on that platform exactly. So within your needs of life, you know, kirtan might be your most attractive feature, or cleaning may be the most attractive feature. And then, you know, some devotees have many desires, many things which they love doing. Who else has something which they really feel they're some kind of, you do it anyway, even if it wouldn't, you know, something which you get pleasure from it and you want to do it, you know. You don't have to be told to do it. Little things. I mean, when it comes to cleaning, a little bit of me likes to clean, a little bit of me doesn't. I get a little bit frustrated sometimes. But little things like that, we can all be a little more conscious. And everywhere, whether girl, boy, man, woman, when we go to the bathroom, clean up after you, for instance. Maybe you say, well, I'm denying Chris the opportunity. We shouldn't think like that. Clean the sink. Every day, you know, it's nice to clean the sink, but somebody's made it dirty. You can try to, you know, bear that in mind, because it means someone else has to pick it up, someone else has to clean it up, someone else has to pay for our stupidity, someone else has to, whatever it is, you know, clean up the mess. So be conscious of others too. Devotional service means being conscious, not just Krishna conscious. Conscious of how our activity affects others. A few drops of garbage on the floor, someone's got the job to clean up. It's neither good for your consciousness nor for anyone else's consciousness. We're here to please Krishna, not to just, you know, maintain our weaknesses or our mundane conditioning. Who else has got some spontaneity? Anybody? We've got kirtan, we've got cleaning. What was the other one? Was there another one? What does Dayavati like doing? Does she like doing anything? Dayavati, Mataji?
Cooking.
Huh?
Cooking.
Cooking. Bengali mothers. Which Bengali mother doesn't like to cook? Isn't it? Even if you don't want anything, they'll still cook. They can't see outside that. You know, it's like it's cooking. Mother Sachi is like cooking. You know, they like to cook for their family, for their children, for their guests. What is Rasa Prana's natural? Beating the drum very loudly. No, sorry. What's your natural attraction?
I don't know.
Huh?
I don't know.
Sleeping? I don't think so. You've seen in action. What's his natural?
Preacher.
A preacher likes to talk to people about Krishna consciousness. Although Prem is also a kirtan man, isn't she? He's also a kirtan. Is that Prem? I can't see kirtan. Judging by the colour and the whole hat like this, it's usually red. Vijay? You don't know yet. You'll find out. Most of us have a natural attraction for prasadam, I think.
Oh, yes.
Isn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
Maybe certain types of prasadam. And if you go out there and all there is uncooked cold rice, you may not be so attracted. Or even if it's just rice. Some people will be very attracted if it's just rice. So it may be a little bit, but in general, most of us are very attracted to prasadam. And that's important because then you won't be so attracted to karmic food. What else? Some to the deities, right? I know devotees who, you know, they dream of the deities, they just live for the deities. They're really lucky souls. Very fortunate souls. You just have to be careful of pride and, let's say, insensitivity to others. Very fortunate. You have a natural attraction? Who's there? Nasika?
Dancing.
Transcendental. What about the Priyarani?
I'm still trying to figure it out.
Crying?
No. No, I'm still
You're
trying
attracted
figure
to
it
trying to figure it out. That's your spontaneity. You know, sometimes it takes time. I mean, modern society doesn't help people to find where they're at, does it? You have to study 100,000 different subject matters, practically, 90% of which you don't really like. But in order to find out what you like, you've got to go through all these other things too. And most of the time, nobody ever finds out what they really like. It's not, society's not geared towards it, so we get jumbled up. We don't really know most of the time what we would do if there was no external influences. Indaleka, what do you like doing?
Cooking, cleaning, reading book, kirtan, decoration, food.
Everything! Amazing, huh?
Everything.
Wow! That's pretty far out. Hey. Well, that's amazing. There's no shortage there of things to do. Temple present? Yeah, there it is. Peter Pan? Spontaneously. Pardon?
Spontaneously, but I would say
Default.
I would say kirtan. I really like. I'm not a good singer, but I really like to participate in kirtans. Yeah.
Kirtans are amazing. I never knew that. I didn't know that. You see, you're so absorbed in managerial things. The real sections for kirtan. Who's that just come in? Come on. What are you naturally attracted to?
What do you need to cancel the
What do you say?
Prasadam. Prasadam.
Prasadam! Okay, let's go. Time to go. Prasadam's calling. And down the time. I think we didn't ask you yet, did we? What's your attraction?
I mean, wherever there is deities, I cannot stay away from the deities.
Deities. Love the deities. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai. Or Prem Mandir.
Janananda Goswami Maharaj.
Yeah.
You feel it, all these devotees